Good day, everyone. Peace and all good. We are the reporters from the BSBA major in marketing management. We are discussing the lessons 7 and 8, the art in early civilizations and the art in emerging Europe.
Stone Age. Stone Age is a term used to describe a period of history when stone were used to make a tools for survival. So Stone Age is a term to describe a period of history. So dati, yung mga Stone Age ay isa yung early technological sa human history. So yung mga ang Stone Age ay ginagamit siya for cutting tree, digging, and then also planting. So ginagamit din siya sa pag-uukit. So, the term of contouring an image of a man and woman dressed in skin hooding before fire in a cave, Stone Age rose spanned the 14,000 and 2000 BCE, or before Common Era.
There are three periods of Stone Age: the Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic. Paleolithic is the late years of the Old Stone Age, Mesolithic is the Middle Stone Age, and the Neolithic is the New Stone Age. In earthing of archaeological artifacts and remains provides modern society and activities of early civilization. The motives of reasons and behind the creation of ancient materials such as sculptures, painting, and architectural structures may not be clearly defined. Nevertheless, the early people produced such material that reflects their attitudes and belief systems on spiritual, social, political, and economic matters. The Stone Age has witnessed how humans were able to live more stable lives and eventually shelters and tools for survival. To complement this stability and sense of permanence, early humans also turned to the creation of paintings and sculpture that depict humans, animals, and their natural habitats. Paleolithic art is a product of climate change. As the climate got colder, part of the early humans' instinct is to look for shelters that would provide them with warmth. Caves became protective heavens for the early humans, and these caves paved way for the birth of their first attempt to create art. So this is a painting in Paleolithic art. This name Hollow Bulls, and it was found in Lascaux, France, and discovered by two boys. And they were astonished to discover this beautiful painting. And this painting evoked naturalism, which is evidently seen through the contours of the animal's body and their dark colors.
So next is Mesolithic art. The Venus of Willendorf. This figure is a highly abstracted woman from highlighted body part associated with fertility. The representation may show the importance of taking care of these body parts for procreation and consequently the survival of species. So, Mesolithic art, also known as Middle Stone Age art, is an archaeological term used to describe the art forms that fall between the Paleolithic and the Neolithic period. So Venus of Willendorf is the sculpture of Mesolithic art. It shows that the woman has oversized breasts.
Neolithic art, Stonehenge in England. The purpose of this fascinating edifice remains a mystery up to this age. Some regard it as a temple, while others see it as complex calendar that track the movements of both the sun and moon. Others ascribe some magical element to it by associating it with Merlin the magician from King Arthur's story.
Egyptian art. Old Kingdom. It was evident that religion was bound to the afterlife. They created tombs for important people, particularly the pharaohs, not just for keeping the dead bodies, but also serve as a shelter for the next journey in the afterlife. They decorate the tombs with the everyday objects that would reflect day-to-day activities, as if the afterlife is mere continuation of what transpired on earth. So, an example na a picture na represent in mga pang araw-araw na gawain to para yung mga namatay is parang continue lang yung kanilang buhay hanggang sa sila ay namatay. Nermer palette. It was a palette that utilized and applied dark colors around King Nermer's eyes. The palette was also a symbol that commemorates the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt. So, in the back part of palette, it shows the King Nermer's wearing the crown of the Upper Egypt and over the slain enemy. The Great Pyramid of Giza. During the Old Kingdom, one of the architectural wonders was also constructed. The pyramids in the Giza serve as the tomb since their main purpose was to provide a resting place for the pharaoh. So, bagalalot inyahin ko ang libingan, parehohan kanina to parahan mga importante nga tao.
Middle Kingdom. One of the key features of the Middle Kingdom is shift in the political hierarchy. Second, emerges a powerful group of landlords that threaten the authority of the pharaoh. Because of the struggle between these two influential sides taken during the rule of King Mentuhotep, third is experimentation in terms of style that transpired during this period. Fourth is portrait sculpture and fresco paintings were freely drawn, some of the style that emerged during this period.
New Kingdom. Art of the New Kingdom had references from both of the preceding. Monuments and sculptures were still linked with death and reverence for the deceased. During previous kingdoms, tombs were just used for worshipping the dead, but in the New Kingdom, they started having mortuary temples. Mortuary temple, or funerary temples, were temples that were erected adjacent to or in the vicinity of royal tombs in the ancient Egypt. The temples were designed to commemorate the reign of the pharaoh under the womb they were constructed, as well as for use by kings called after death. The purpose of mortuary temple is place of worship of deceased king and is depository for food and objects offered to the dead monarch. Queen Nefertiti. There is an emphasis to lifelike features of the face like elongate jaw and thick-lidded eyes. Most artists created artworks that are natural and seemingly real, highlighting the features of their subject. Naturalism was not only used to depict the pharaoh but also was used for members of royal family. The bust of Queen Nefertiti has a long sensuous neck. And Nefertiti is one of the most powerful women of Egypt. King Tutankhamen. He became king of a very young age and died at the age of 18. And Howard Carter discovered his tomb in 1922. They were astonished to find gold artworks, and the coffin was made out of solid gold. And the body of young king was covered in the linen, and a gold mask covered his face. And the mask ensured more protection for the king's body.
Lesson 8 is the art of emerging Europe. Lesson 8, from the times of the ancient civilizations like Greeks and the Romans all the way to the modern times, art has been used to communicate ideologies and belief systems prevalent within their context.
Ancient Greece. The Greeks were known to excel in various fields and aspects of society. They also valued poetry, drama, and philosophy, which remain interesting fields of study for the contemporary times. And it is also known to place prime importance in the use of reason. Man was the center of society, and how they trained their minds could be the very foundation of how they live their lives. The humanist ideal of Greek were reflected in their democratic form of government. These principles, belief, system, and ideologies are the core of Greek art and architecture. Development of Greek art can be divided into four periods. First is geometric, second is archaic, third is classical, next is Hellenistic. The geometric period was time when Greece was starting to get back from the onslaught of what seems to be their dark ages. It was period when geometric shape and pattern have taken the spotlight in the most artworks. The archaic period, on the other hand, placed importance of human figures. This was primarily as a result of Greece's trading activities with other civilizations. The peak of Greek sculpture and architecture was during the classical period. It was during this time when the Greeks found themselves rebuilding their temples and focusing on creating artworks. The time of Alexander the Great was called the Hellenistic period. Art was primarily focused on showcasing dynamic emotion and depicting reality. It started to emphasize balance while showcasing dynamic poses. One of the famous Hellenistic sculptors is the Laocoon and his son. This is the picture of Laocoon and his son. I have here the overview about the ancient Greece. The Greeks made important contributions to philosophy, mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. Also, literature and theater was an important aspect of Greek culture and influenced modern drama. The Greeks were known for their sophisticated sculpture and architecture. And I have here also the main history. It can be traced back to Stone Age hunters. Later came early farmers and the Minoan and Mycenaean civilization. This was followed by the period of war and invasions, known as the Middle Ages. Around 1100 BC, the people of the Dorians invaded from the north and spread along the west coast.
Ancient Rome. Roman Republic was established around 500 BCE. This civilization eventually transformed into one of the Western Europe's mightiest empires. Roman civilization came age during the Hellenistic period. The fusion of Greek and Roman cultures can be seen in Roman artworks. Some will argue that the Romans merely copied Greek art. This eventually made the Romans produce artworks that are often looking stern, harsh, and strong. Also invoked the principles of realism in most of their works, highlighting the features of human beings. Known to be master builders, one of their architecture achievements would have to be Colosseum. This amphitheater was planned and constructed during the reign of Emperor Vespasian. This structure was a concrete manifestation of Roman builders' craftsmanship, which focused on logical organization of the entire edifice. Ancient Rome was a powerful civilization that existed on the Italian peninsula from the 8th century BCE. It evolved from a monarchy to a republic and then to an autocratic empire.
becoming one of the largest empires in the ancient Rome, known for its significant contributions to architecture, engineering, law, and governance.
Next is Middle Ages. It is the period between the decay of the Roman Empire and the Renaissance. It is also characterized by ignorance and darkness. Another dominant characteristic of the period was the church was the central figure of the authority. And it is the most important product of the early Middle Ages will have to be cope with the Christian sculptures. And during this time, great cathedrals were also built. And these cathedrals can be categorized into periods, Romanesque. So in this Middle Age, ito ay tumutukoy sa panahon ng saysay ng sining at kultura. So karaniwang makita sa Middle Age ay ang mga tema tulad ng reliyon, mitolohiya, at buhay sa kaharian. So nabibilang sa Middle Age ang artikultura, pintura, at eskultura.
Renaissance arts, Mannerism, Baroque, and Rococo. Renaissance arts. During the period, artists valued the individuals as a subject of art that was influenced by the humanism, while most artwork emphasized naturalism. Most artists also explored space in different artworks which provide a three-dimensional perspective of most of their painting. Most artists also gave importance to non-religious themes or subjects brought by the gravitational of art. However, most artworks remained religious in its focus and intent. Michelangelo David. This sculpture is an example of how humanism was dominant belief system during the Renaissance. Mannerism. It was a period in the art history which was a product of Renaissance period. Most of the artworks were created in the 15th century and are often similar with the religious narrative but can also include composition, modulations of light and medium. Most artwork in this period displayed distorted figures, two-dimensional space, discordant hues and colors, and lack of defined focal point. Entombment of Christ. Disposition of Christ from 1525 to 1528.
Baroque and the Rococo. The term Baroque is derived from the Portuguese term Baroque, which means irregularly shaped curve. Expansion was the central theme for this period. The artist considered the motion and space of the artwork. Most artists use colorful plates and ornamentation in their work. So this is the example of painting Baruco and Ruco. Is the Assumption of the Virgin in 1516 to 18 by Titian. Baroque and the Ruco, aside from art, music was also flourished during Baroque period and was able to distinguish loud from soft and solo from the simple. Most of the composers came from Italy, include Vivaldi, Corelli, and Monteverde. Other well-known Baroque composers include Germany's Bach and Handel. Baroque composers began to make more complex musical composition and more performances, which are limited only to powerful institutions like church and individuals like Bachar. Famous music in Baroque period includes Brandenburg Concertos by Johann Sebastian Bach, The Four Seasons by Antonio Vivaldi, El Orfeo by Claudio Monteverde, Messiah by George Frederick Handel. serious, more provocative style, while Rocco is released on a sense of light and powerful.
So neoclassicism refers to the movement in the art drawn inspiration from the classical art and culture of ancient Greece and Rome. It is defined by its use of straight lines, minimal use of color, simplicity of form, and of course, an adherence of classical values and techniques. So some historians say that this movement was reaction of the artwork produced during Baroque period. An extravagance in terms of style and form of the Baroque period. So it is a sculpture of Antonio Canova, Paulino Borges as Venus Beatrix.
Romanticism. Romanticism was an art movement that used the themes of neoclassical artwork as a springboard. Highlighted heroic elements during the Age Revolution, there has been tremendous focus on nationalistic movement. French Revolution, which became the focal point of Romantic works. Romanticism major and central themes emphasized the goodness of mankind. Most work also promoted justice, equality, and social order. Artists emphasize emotion and feelings of man, which are deviation from the humanist principles of rationalism. Romanticism was an artistic and intellectual movement. It emphasized emotion, individualism, and the beauty of nature, rejecting the rationality of enlightenment. Romantic artists and writers sought to evoke strong emotions, celebrate personal experience, and break free from traditional conventions.
Realism. A style of works focuses on the accuracy of details and somehow mirror reality. Realism, there is still little room for imagination since emphasizes is placed in observable truths that can concretize artworks. In other words, realism is the view that an object or thing has mind-independent reality. Realism is influenced by Hellenistic Greek culture as artworks put emphasis in human body. Realism in arts is the accurate, detailed, and embellished depiction of nature or of contemporary life. Realism rejects imaginative idealization in favor of a close observation of outward appearances.
Impressionism, post-impressionism, and neo-impressionism. Impressionism is a style of painting that emerged from mid to late 1890s. The distinctive characteristic of this style is that it allowed the artist to emphasize the immediate impression of particular event or scene. Can be seen through the brushstroke distinction of colors and the light and shadow used by the artist. Ang Impressionism sa sining ay isang ilusan na nagsisimula noong 1890s kung saan ang isang grupo ay pinto mula sa Francis ay tumanggi sa mga umiiral na ideya tungkol sa pagpipinta. Sinubukan nilang lumaya mula sa patakaran at tradisyon at ipakita ang kanilang agarang impresyon.
Post-impressionism gave emphasis to defining from with the use of broken color and first brush stroke. Most works or neo-impressionism artistic framework of the contemporary work technique entered from the 20th century. Post-impressionism Post-impressionists utilized broken color and short brush strokes to emphasize for moving away from the impressionist focus on capturing fleeting impressions. influence of contemporary art, many post-impressionist artists, especially those associated with neo-impressionism, laid the groundwork for 20th century art trends and techniques shaping the first of contemporary art. Characteristic of post-impressionism. Subjectivity, post-impressionism added the interpretation and reflection of the artist into the painting. Second, real-life subject matter aims to represent the real world in one way or another. Third, manipulation of color or geometric design, distort form for expressive effect and to use unnatural or arbitrary colors in their composition. Characteristic of post-impressionism. Subjectivity, artists infuse their personal interpretation and reflection in their painting, delving deeper into emotional and physiological state. Real-life subject matter. Like impressionists, post-impressionists depicted real-life scenes but with added personal interpretation, often incorporating symbolism or deeper meaning. Manipulation of color and form. Post-impressionists experimented with color and form to convey. Manipulation of color and form. Post-impressionists experimented with color and form to convey emotion and expression, sometimes distorting shape or using unconventional colors of dramatic effect, moving towards abstraction of style.
Okay. Neo-Impressionism. Response to empirical realism or impressionism. Painters in this movement rely on systematic and scientific techniques that have predetermined visual effects. Movement and painting that occurred in France in the late 19th century as a reaction to the spontaneity of impressionism, characterized by the use of the diffusionism technique involved using adjacent dabs of liquid color to create the effect of light. So,
Art Nouveau, 1890 and 1910. Decorative style characterized by intricate designs and flowing organic forms, often inspired by nature, incorporating elements such as flowers, leaves, and animals. Used in a variety of arts forms, including architecture, furniture, jewelry, and graphic design. Associated with the cultural movement in Europe. Important artists and designers associated with Art Nouveau and include Alphonse Mucha, Hector Guimard, and Louis Comfort. Tony Adams as Joan of Arc is also known as Alphonse Mucha. Of this same art movement characterized by vivid colors, energetic brush work, often use non-elastic currency color to impress emotion or mood. Influenced by works and post-information artists such as Van Gogh, George Kagurin, K.R. slated by Cubism include Ernest Masty, Andre Derain, and Maurice D. Valentini. This is the example of Cubism. Cubism glossy claim is verted 1904 with its Henry Masty.
Cubism. Between 1907 to 1914, French artists Pablo Picasso and George Worky introduced a nouvelle art style includes Cubism. This style should later on have a large influence to artists during 20th century. This style should later on have a large influence.
Dan! Ano ba sa kuya kanin? Ay, kung madali pang dyan. Madali ito.
Cubism.
Cubism, 1907 to 1914. French artists Pablo Picasso and George Gorky introduced a new visual art style and called Cubism. This style should be later on have a large influence on artists during 20th century. Cubist highlighted the two-dimensional surface on the picture plane. Focused on a flat surface was rejected on dominant techniques like the use of perspective, surfacing, shortening of modeling. One of the things that Cubism rejected has the excess of revealing nature of art should imitate nature. Cubists emphasize that they are not in any ways obliged to copy texture, form, color, and space.
Futurism, 1909 to 1916. Early 20th century art movement was a dot started in Italy. It highlighted the speed, energy, dynamism, and the power of machines. Common themes of work in this movement are restlessness and the fast pace of modern life. The greatest of futurism is evident in poetry and visual arts. Italian poet and editor Filippo Tommaso Marinetti coined the term futurism to reflect the purpose and disregarding the traditional method of the art in the past. This is the art of Umberto Boccioni. That is the futurism in art. But we have futurism in cultural and science. In science, it is study of the future, but real futurists avoid making predictions. While the futurism cultural, it is a people and collective using current understanding of socio-political realities to imagine what culture and human behavior will look like 10, 20, 100, even 1,000 years into the future.
Summary of Lesson 7, Art in Early Civilization. The art of the ancient world reveals a tremendous amount to modern historians about the culture, values, and beliefs of this early civilization. Art is not just only reflects in cultures but influence it, creating the forms and ideals that shape society. Summary of Lesson 8, Art of Emerging Europe. The art of emerging Europe plays a crucial role in conveying ideologies and belief systems within the region through various art forms. Emerging Europe express diverse aspects of life and culture.